Our oh-so-passionate veteran advocate is here on set to discuss VA loans. Please welcome Loan Officer of Benchmark Mortgage, Andrew.Paul.
And boom, here we are. Andrew.Paul's in the house. What's up, my brother?
Good to see you.
Former Navy SEAL, now serving your veterans in the mortgage business, which, that transition, I imagine, was an interesting one.
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense, right? I mean, you go from jumping out of planes, blowing things up, shooting all kinds of cool guns, to doing 30-year fixed mortgages, right? Natural transition.
But you've done it well.
Yeah.
In fact, I've heard you say you're the best damn VA lender in the country before.
I think you said that, but I do believe that. I just try not to say it, I do believe that.
Why do you believe that?
First of all, when you said, oh, you've done that well, my military transition was a disaster. It's a cautionary tale to my fellow veterans of exactly what not to do. But once I made that transition, it took a while to kind of find my footing, to find my purpose, my passion, and what I was doing now post-military. And so I found that in doing VA loans for my fellow veterans. And you just think of it like this, military men and women are my brothers and sisters. And there's just no way that a veteran goes down the street and gets a better deal or gets better service than if they come to me. I won't let it happen. These are my bros, and I'm going to work very hard for them. The problem for me is that I have a hard time with self-promotion. I'm passionate about what I do and helping folks. It's just getting that word out there. So
I think this is an educational format where we can talk about some of those things, because there's a lot of VA misconceptions and stuff like that. In fact, I know VA buyers in the marketplace who say things like, well, my offer is not as strong. I'm against cash buyers, and all these agents out there think that my VA offer isn't as good.
Yeah.
Or that the loans are too hard, or things like that.
Here's what happens. Most real estate agents and lenders out there don't work with a lot of veterans or VA loans. So if you're going to work with a veteran or a VA loan, you got to work with a lending specialist like myself. 80 to 90% of the business that I do are VA loans for veterans. So where some of that misconception comes from, Derek, is real estate agents who don't work with a lot of veterans. And the last VA deal that they did was some lender that didn't know what they were doing. They botched the deal. It closed later, didn't close at all. And then they blamed the VA. And people then begin to think that the VA loans are hard to close. And that's just not true. We close VA loans in 21 days or less, no problem. But it's a misconception from folks who don't know what they're doing or don't have a lot of experience working with VA loans.
Gotcha. So what about the... that's more of a real estate agent, I think,
right.
conceptual thing, but that has trickled down to the end-all consumer. But the VA loan is an amazing loan.
Right.
It's awesome for a lot of reasons, and I think a lot of people who are veterans don't really understand it.
Top reasons why the VA loan is better than anything else for a veteran. No money down, no monthly mortgage insurance, no prepayment penalty. The loan is assumable, which isn't really a big thing people are talking about right now, but down the road it's going to be extremely valuable. What that means in short is that if you're a veteran, you got a great interest rate, 3.25, 3.5, fast forward 5-10 years down the road, someone comes along and wants to buy your house, they can take over your loan at 3.25 or 3.5%, rather than going out into the marketplace and getting an interest rate at whatever they may be at that time, 4, 5, 6, who knows, right? So that's a tremendous thing you as a veteran who's selling their house can offer to a prospective buyer. They can take over your low interest rate loan. Now, I'll just say there's some nuances with that. Don't have time to get into those details right now, but I'm happy to share that with anybody who wants to inquire further.
100% financing.
Yeah.
No mortgage insurance.
Right.
So you're talking about being able to buy a home for very little money down.
So, Derek, one of the misconceptions is that people need money to buy a house with a VA loan, and they don't. Obviously, one of the big benefits is that they can do 100% financing. Now, practically speaking, you got to make a deposit, a good faith deposit when you make an offer. There's no technical requirement for that, but most sellers in a competitive market aren't going to consider your offer if you're not willing to make a good faith deposit. Now, closing costs, there's 3 ways that closing costs can be paid for. Number one, you pay for them yourself. But if you don't have that money, you can negotiate as part of the contract for the seller to pay for some or all of your closing costs. And also, you can get a credit from the lender. And just understand that there's nothing free in this world. And in a little bit, I want to talk about some of the sort of scams that are out there or fancy marketing that can mislead folks, but there's nothing free. Whenever you see a loan that offers no closing costs, do you think that like these for-profit banks are just going to give you stuff for free? No, it's just not how it works. What happens is you trade a higher interest rate for a credit from the lender to pay for those closing costs. If you paid for those closing costs yourself, you'd be able to get a lower interest rate. So that's the trade-off. There's nothing free.
Do you think that's a good idea for people?
If you don't have the money to pay for your own closing costs and you really want to buy a house, then yeah, it's a great one. But if you have your own money, or you can get it in the form of a gift or save it up, like the old-fashioned way, that's the best route to go.
Okay, get the lower rate.
Absolutely. Over the long run, you're going to save more money. But maybe you have a really short-term time horizon. Maybe you're going to buy this house and you're expecting, hey, I'm only going to be in those airplanes. Awesome jets taking off from Miramar. Maybe you're only going to be in this house for a couple of years. And so, hey, taking the higher interest rate, maybe it changes your payment by $50, $75, $100 a month. Over the course of 3 years, it's only $3,600 or something like that. That's no big deal. But if you have a long-term time horizon, it's better to come up with the closing costs yourself and take the lower interest rate.
Yeah, that makes sense, just mathematically speaking.
Right, that's all it is.
Yeah, it is. And the other thing, too, I think that is important for people to know, because people are very rate sensitive these days.
You know why most people are rate sensitive? It's because they've been inundated with a lot of online marketing, radio and TV, that all they do is advertise rate. You know why? Because those people who are doing that kind of advertising have no ability to build a real relationship and connect. They can't offer you the ability to come in, sit down, and meet with them one-on-one. And what they're interested in is just driving tons of phone calls and online loan applications. And so they do that by luring you in with a low interest rate. And then it's the job of whoever you call to close your ass, okay? And to, you don't qualify for this rate because of this or that or one other thing. And rate is important, but don't be misled by a low interest rate until you understand all the mechanisms, all the points that are going in behind that interest rate, like the down payment, the loan program, what marketplace that rate is advertised for. There's a lot of misleading information behind online ads for interest rates.
Yeah, and it is a bait and switch, even though they legally get away with it because there's a little fine print somewhere.
Yeah, read that fine print that shows up this thick and this small for half a second on that TV when it flashes by you.
Yeah, and then in there it'll say, that you may not qualify for this.
It'll say it's for a conventional loan with 25% down and 780 FICO for a single-family detached residence in Missouri. Oh, you're buying in San Diego.
But there's a lot of online companies out there that are, claiming to be VA specialists, and that
fancy marketing. That's fine. Look, I'm not saying that I'm not here to call into question their integrity. I'm just saying that understand what you're getting. And as a first-time buyer, you really are going to benefit from being able to call somebody who really does know what they're doing, who's going to take the time to answer your questions and walk you through the process. And there's really there's kind of two kinds of lenders in the world, and there's kind of two kinds of real estate agents in the world. And that is high volume discount service or a lower volume full price full service. So look, you come to someone like me, we're going to spend the time with you, we're going to walk you through the process, we're going to give you good advice. You're going to understand what you're getting. Look, go online and look at our online reviews, okay? I don't really particularly go for online reviews, but I've had a lot of past clients who have just helped me out and written a nice review online. You'll see what kind of things people say. And for some folks, all they're looking for is the lowest possible number, and they're not necessarily concerned with getting good advice, or if the number that they're being promised is what they're going to get in the end. Other people are like, you know what, I recognize I don't know what I don't know, and I need a pro who's going to walk me through this process. And if that's you, then we're the lender for you.
And this is one of the VA loan is one of the things that is a huge advantage to a financial advantage to being in the service, is that you get to come back as a civilian, or even while you're in active duty, you can still use your VA loan, right? So, you get the opportunity to buy a home with the best possible loan terms,
right,
and the least amount of money down. So it's a real opportunity for people to become homeowners in situations where they might not have otherwise been able to do so. Andrew, I know this is a huge passion for you, so I want to pass it to you so you can really tell people who are out there who are eligible for VA loans, what it's all about and why they should give you a call.
Here's the deal. Doing mortgages by themselves is like death by 1,000 paper cuts. But for me, my passion is helping my fellow veterans. If you or someone you know is a veteran looking to buy a house using their VA loan, then I would love an opportunity to speak with them and to help them out. There's a lot of bad information out there, and people who say that they care, but they really don't. As a veteran and a former Navy SEAL, I have found my purpose and passion since leaving active duty in helping my fellow veterans. Just give me a call and let me see what I can do to help you. That's the bottom line. That's my only pitch, if you will.